Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Development Permit Panel meeting for April 27th, 2022. We just have a few process items to move through, so if I could ask everybody to just mute while we're doing that until you're called upon to speak, that would be appreciated. On the panel today, we have James Cooper. He's our Director of Building Approvals, and Cecilia Sham, the General Manager of Community Safety. I'll be chairing today. I'm John Irving, General Manager of Engineering Public Works. On the panel, we deal with issues of form and character for the pending development items. That includes parking, landscape, lighting, etc. We don't deal with issues of use and density. So we have a bit of a process to move through here as we get to an agenda item. We just have the one today. We'll ask for a presentation from the proponent. We'll listen to some staff comments and then open it up to questions from the panel. Not sure we have any members of the public here today, but we'll open that up for any members of the public to ask questions or comment as well. We'll do a panel deliberation and there'll be a decision forthwith. So with that, I'll move to today's agenda. We have the minutes from the previous meeting held on April 13th. Can I get a motion to adopt those?
So moved.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And now the first item we have, development permit 219337884. The applicant is Don Dockstetter Motors. It looks like we have a group here ready to make a presentation. So I will cede the floor and we'll be happy to receive that.
Thank you very much. My name is Corey Chan. I'm principal at Proscenium Architecture and Interiors. The Volvo Richmond project is a minor renovation, primarily to do with the interior for the new Volvo brand. There is some exterior, minor exterior alterations for the most part, which Teague, the project architect for the project, is going to do the presentation because she is the most familiar with the project. So Teague, can I turn this over to you, please?
Yeah, definitely. So I will just share my screen with everybody so we can get started. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes.
Perfect, thanks. So as Corey mentioned, we are presenting our project for Volvo Richmond. It's a minor renovation in nature. So here is just an overview of our building. So we are mostly dealing with bringing an existing car dealership, which is Mini dealership, into a Volvo dealership and being able to follow their brand guidelines. So our renovation includes the addition of a new exterior curtain wall that will wrap our north, east, and south elevations, as well as repainting existing cladding and some interior partition changes. So the siting of our plan is between Cambie Road and Shell Road, and then have adjacent Highway 99. The existing dealership will not take any new zoning, site use, or parking changes. Those will all remain as existing. And we do have a small addition of floor area, so 11 square meters that will result from us pushing our exterior curtain wall out slightly in order to avoid existing structure that's there. The change in floor area doesn't result in any change to our FSR, so we will remain at a 0.3 FSR for the project. Go to our next slide. So here's some existing images of the project, the Mini dealership. So it's composed of some existing metal panel in both black and white, existing curtain wall with black mullions, as well as some existing corrugated cladding that's black as well. Here's our site plan. So what we are intending to do is either retain or enhance any existing site features. So some of those are enhancing the bike parking racks that will be, I'll actually zoom in just easier. We're going to be replacing the bike outdoor bike parking racks that are outside the building. We'll be repainting the pedestrian sidewalks to create that path of travel for people using our site. We will be retaining rooftop solar panels that exist already within the project. And then we will also be retaining all the parking and bike parking that exists on the site as well. And then another feature that we'll be enhancing is EV chargers. So there are some existing EV chargers on the site over here. So we'll be updating those to the Volvo standard, as well as adding some new EV charging here on site as well. And then another item that was brought to our attention by the City of Richmond is adding some wheel stops along this section of glazing so that we're able to protect the glazing, the new glazing in this location. And so here are the northeast views of our existing building and our new building, just to illustrate the changes that we're going to be making. So the existing cladding that wrapped around the north and the east sides of the building was the metal panel in black. So here you'll see that we're replacing it with a new curtain wall glazing system. And then we also will have a new entrance element on the north side of the building. And this is the southeast view. So again, we have that same existing metal cladding and curtain wall that wraps around the south and then east sides of the building, which we'll be replacing with the curtain wall panel, as well as the request of the City of Richmond. We're also going to be replacing a small portion of panel here with with corrugated cladding in order to can maintain a consistent language between the new and the old facade on this, or new and the old materials on the south facade. So we have our level 1 floor plan. Again, as mentioned previously, we have our curtain wall cladding that will run around the north, east, and south facades. And then otherwise, we are updating interior partitions within the showroom space to follow Volvo's brand guidelines, and also updating a few partitions in the service reception area, again, to follow Volvo's branding guidelines. We aren't making any changes in the workshop space or in the service drive-through wash bay areas. Up on the second level, we'll just be making some changes to interior partitions in order to create new meeting rooms, and then as well as a new women's locker room and an administrative office area. And then otherwise, the workshop areas, which are either open to below or service room areas, will remain as is. So on the roof plan, you can see the solar panels that we're going to be maintaining for the project. So those will remain in place and be connected to the new building. The only change on the roof is the addition of a parapet cap, which will form part of the new curtain wall assembly. So here's our elevation views to illustrate the new curtain wall, as well as kind of the materials together. So we'll have our new curtain wall with our entry feature on the north elevation. We're going to be painting all the existing cladding in a metallic silver to match, to better align with the curtain wall. On the east facade, we will be installing the curtain wall with the cladding painted silver as well. And then on the south facade, the same idea, as well as the existing cladding, corrugated cladding being replaced at the request of the City of Richmond. And the west facade will just have the existing cladding painted the metallic silver. So here we have a longitudinal section through the space to illustrate the double high space of the showroom and the curtain wall that we will be installing here. Will have no changes to the existing building heights. So we'll start to run through a few renderings of the project. So this is our north elevation with our curtain wall cladding and our new entry feature, as well as showing the existing cladding that will be repainted silver. So I'll just run through a few additional views. So what we're hoping to achieve with the curtain wall is create a consistent language that's able to wrap around the north, east, and south elevations. So here you'll see how that curtain wall is able to wrap around to the east elevation, maintaining that consistent language between the north and the east, and then wrapping around to the south to continue that language. And again, we've replaced the corrugated cladding here in order to create a consistent language across the rest of the south facade. So we wanted to illustrate too with this new curtain wall assembly. We do have existing structure that caused a conflict if we were to place our curtain wall cladding directly in line with the old wall assembly. So we've moved that outboard, which has resulted in the small additional floor area. However, we're able to avoid the existing structure, and visually we're actually able to, with the panel that we're using, hide the existing structure more or less behind the new curtain wall panel assembly. So these panels are semi-translucent panel that can help to create a double height volume space at both our double height conditions in our showroom, as well as at our conditions where our second floor runs up to the new curtain wall. And here is our materials board. So we are using, again, our curtain wall assembly, which will include 3 different types of glass in it. So we'll have Volvo's blue glass will help to identify their trademark blue square. We have the semi-transparent panel, which is the panel that you can see for the majority of the curtain wall. And then we'll also have a clear glazing panel at our feature frame locations. And so those will help to emphasize different items in the showroom. And then we're also going to be using a high-pressure laminate panel at our feature frames, which occur on the north facade and the east facade, as well as at our new entry feature. And then otherwise, the remainder of the building is going to be repainted in a metallic silver, so that will be any of the existing corrugated panel and ACM panel on the project. So I'm actually going to hand the screen over to Mary now, and she's going to run through the landscape design for the project.
Thank you so very much. I'm going to share my screen if I may. There we go. Everybody can see my screen, I hope?
It looks like it's just getting started, Mary.
Sorry.
It's still black, Mary.
Still black. Oh. See? When you need it, it glitches on you. Showing up now?
Nope.
Do you have the landscape slides available?
Yeah, Mary, I can.
I did share it with Teague a little earlier.
Yeah, Mary, do you want me just to flip over to your slides? I can just pull them up.
Yeah.
If you give me a minute here.
If you don't mind. Yeah, sorry about that.
No.
Okay. Is it showing up now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. If you hit the computer enough times, you can see. My apologies for that interruption. Okay. The existing landscaping was installed as part of the previous car dealership. And over time, it has been maintained quite nicely. I've got some examples of images of the plant material when it was first installed. And today it is it's matured, but it's the same species and quite nicely filled in. So the species we had initially selected was drought-tolerant type species. We use ornamental grasses. We use some evergreen trees for year-round greenery, and the trees, the deciduous trees we selected were ginkgos, which had a very, very nice autumn fall color, nice bright yellow fall color. So the image you see here is upon arrival of the site looking inward. So this is the landscaping with the red barren grass. And then we also have Nandina, which is a heavenly bamboo, some mahonias, and some ilex, which is Japanese holly in this landscape bed. So it's low enough to provide some good greenery and a little bit of variation along the edge, so the vehicles are still visible but mitigated, so it's not a complete view. Moving into the site, we have an additional bed that's maintained along this area here, which is this one here. Again, consisting of ginkgo trees we're retaining, the Serbian spruce, and understory shrub planting of Mahonia and Festuca grasses. So all the landscaping along the front areas has been maintained quite nicely and has matured quite nicely. Moving along the backside on the highway side, there hasn't been as much tender loving care on it initially. So we are infilling the shrub planting again to reinstate this edge landscaping. The trees were installed previously, which is bowhall maples, are still what is there is going to be retained. And then we've also added additional bowhall maples along this edge here where the vehicles will be displayed to provide additional vertical greenery and somewhat of a buffer along the highway side from this pavement area in this back area. The existing trees at the north edge will be retained, and of course, on the Cambie Road embankment, all the conifers that you currently see there are still there and not going to be removed. The green wall that you saw on the existing photo is this green wall here. It was installed as part of the building initially, and Volvo will be maintaining this. However, we're going to get rid of the mini bug to provide something more symbolic of the Volvo brand on this green wall. So it's a nice feature, and you can see this along the highway. So it's really, I've driven past it and looked. Mind you, when you're driving at 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, you only see a glimpse of it when you're whizzing by, but it is a nice feature that you can see along the highway side. In terms of pedestrian connection, as Tegan mentioned, there is a stamped asphalt walkway that is here today. We'll be recoloring it to bring out the more distinct patterning to demonstrate the pedestrian walkway crossing continuation, and delineation will allow for traffic calming for vehicles moving into the site and around the site itself. The parking in front of the dealership will be finished in permeable pavers, and this will help with the stormwater aspect in the parking areas, and also provide a little bit of differentiation from the asphalt pavement. It allows cars that are parked here, although they not be sales vehicles, to be more of a pedestrian area along this area here with the change of material, so that you can feel like, yes, you are parking in this area, but you feel like you're parking more of in a plaza than in a parking lot itself. The vehicles will be protected from hitting the buildings with wheel stops to allow safe use of the space without conflict and interference with the building. There is a sidewalk in front of the building that's being maintained, and as Deacon mentioned, there'll be additional new bike parking spaces right here for customers who come in to pick up their new car. That basically is a general overview of the landscaping. Thank you.
So I'll just switch back to my screen.
Okay, thanks. Is that the conclusion of your presentation?
Yeah, that is. So, yeah, thank you very much, and obviously welcome any questions from the panel and committee.
Okay, great. If we could just have staff comments.
Yes, through the chair. Staff highlights include some contributions to the sustainability and landscaping fronts for this exterior renovation project. In terms of sustainability, existing rooftop photovoltaic system is proposed to remain and secured with a legal agreement. The applicant also proposes 2 new EV charging stations in the parking lot, in addition to 2 existing ones, which I understand will be upgraded as well. And these will be available for both customers and the public, secured again with a legal agreement. There's also the addition of some permeable pavers in a portion of the parking area, as noted. And in terms of landscaping, existing textured concrete pedestrian crossings are to be repainted to help improve pedestrian circulation and safety in the site. And additional trees and shrubs proposed along the existing landscaping along the highway, and also secured with landscaping security. And finally, the existing green wall facing Highway 99 to remain and with ongoing maintenance. And that concludes the staff comments.
Great, thank you, Suzanne. Questions from the panel? Looks like Cecilia had her hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the landscape plans, Mary, there is a small triangle that is shown in green adjacent to the entrance, sort of by the handicap parking space. Do you know which area I'm sort of talking about? Yes, right there, yes. I just wonder, because that is the separation really between your showroom and your back of house function, and that's where your customers come, whether there's any opportunity to have like a tree there or something, even if it's in a planter as a bit of a marker.
Yes, we can do that. We can do that.
So if staff could take that into advisement.
Will do.
Thank you.
Right. Any questions, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, sir. So I applaud the applicant for having a handsome design solution. But along with that good-looking nature, there comes a requirement to meet energy code. I mean, it's a very handsome adaptation to use the fritted curtain wall. However, since you are changing ostensibly in entirety that portion of the building, the skin of the building, that skin of the building is now required to comply with the code. So as a word of advisement, in order to keep that form, please do the energy modeling now to make sure that the entirety of the building may be kept, or the entirety of your design may be kept when asked to show that it complies with current energy code. So, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you can get glowing reviews from us, and yeah, that's great, do it. But then when you go to BP and then we ask, well, show that it meets energy code, and then you have to do something to alter the exterior design. So that would be my comment.
Okay, thank you for that. I believe we actually have our mechanical engineers starting to look at that. Yeah.
Oh, I have a second comment. It's very interesting that the EV, the PV system that you have on the roof. Does the building currently have storage, and where do you use the PV generated power for in the building?
So the PV power is being put into the electrical systems in the building, and our electrical engineer let us know that it is about 20% of the electrical load is being covered by those PV panels. So it's all being reused in the building at the moment.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I lost my pointer here. Yeah, my questions got asked, so yeah, I would agree. It's a nice addition to the building. Quite nice development originally, and looks like you're just improving it. Appreciate the addition of trees and the retention, and I believe you said there would be some replacement of the PV panels or upgrading if that's a fact. So appreciate that as well. I don't have anything further. Any other questions then from the panel?
Just want to confirm that the PV panels will now be secure with a legal agreement, because I think they put them in voluntarily originally.
Through the chair, that's correct. They are being secured with a legal agreement.
Thank you.
Great, Mr. Clerk, do we have any members of the public here?
We have no members of the public registered to delegate at this meeting, Mr. Chair.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that, Rustico.
We have no members of the public registered to delegate at this meeting.
Great, and any letters then?
No letters, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move to panel deliberation. Yeah, I think comments have been made. Nice looking project. I think nice improvements. I think that curtain wall too will be handsome and hopefully improve, obviously, some of the energy performance of the building as well, and perhaps even enhance the risk of bird strike, enhanced by reducing it. I mean, anyway, so I'm happy to support it. I don't know if there's other comments from the members of the panel.
I am a little bit sad to see the squashed or half mini disappearing, but I think this is in some ways a classier facade, so I'm happy to support the project.
All right. So there's a positive staff recommendation. Somebody want to move that? Seconder?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you very much. You have your panel approval, and good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So just moving on our agenda, I don't think we have any new business, and the date of next meeting is May 11th, 2022.
Through the chair, we have no items for the May 11th meeting, so if you so choose, we could cancel that meeting.
Okay, no items. We may as well cancel it, unless you just want to get together for fun. All good. All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Great. We're adjourned. Thank